So 4 really straightforward fat loss mistakes that I see guys doing all the time. Hey guys, Mark McKill here with Live Anabolic, and today I'm going to talk about 4 fat loss mistakes men over 50 make on a regular basis. And it's unsurprising that us older guys need to lose weight. I would say out of all the men over 50, 95%, maybe 99% of us need to lose fat. But I'm also surprised at how many just basic mistakes everybody makes when it comes to losing body fat. So I've kind of put together, I think, the 4 biggest mistakes, kind of the big category mistakes that men make. I'm going to go into some details, but I've kind of lumped them into 4 big categories because they just happen so often, and it just blows me away. And it's not that hard to figure this stuff out, guys. So please stick around, all right? Because if you don't know some of these 4 mistakes, or if you're screwing up on those things on a regular basis, man, you're going to get frustrated because it makes losing fat really hard. And if you just kind of know some of the basics that I'm going to talk about, you will be surprised at how easy it's going to be to drop that unwanted fat. All right, so right before I get into these 4 mistakes, I want to remind you guys that we got a fantastic free resource for you. It's our Facebook group, all right? I'm the moderator. I'm in there every day answering questions. We're pushing almost 22,000 people now, all right, our members. It is a blast. I don't care if you don't like Facebook, join. I promise you won't regret it. You don't have to use your real name. You don't have to post any pictures of yourself. Just join the group and log on every once in a while, because we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about exercise, we're talking about injury prevention, we're talking about motivation things. And then there's also a bunch of funny guys in there that post hilarious memes. So guys, trust me, click the link below. You won't regret it. All right, let's start off with the number 1 fat loss mistake us older guys make, and that is thinking that you can run your way to a skinny body. All right. That mentality of doing kind of that traditional, long, boring cardio day after day, I think is a mistake. Now, I'm not saying cardio is bad. I'm all for cardio, but it's when a lot of guys put it as the first and foremost thing when it comes to losing fat. They think they can just go out and run mile after mile after mile, or bike mile after mile, hour after hour every week. And I think that is a big mistake. First of all, when you do too much steady state cardio, you can actually cause stress to your body. And your body responds by producing this hormone called cortisol. Well, in cortisol, the more cortisol you make, the less testosterone you make. And that's a whole nother story. But as your T levels go down, it makes it almost impossible to lose fat. Okay? And then also think about this, guys. When you're watching the news and they got like a local marathon, one of these charity marathons, and you got thousands of people out there running it just for fun, pay attention to how many chubby people can run a marathon. Guys, I couldn't run 10 miles, all right, much less a marathon. But it is really weird how I'm looking at people, guys and girls, crossing that marathon line after 4, 5, 6 hours, and they're not in very good shape. They're chubby. And then the guys that are really fast, the guys that are winning the marathon, they look terrible. They're like just skin and bones. It looks like they just escaped from a concentration camp. So I don't see many muscular, fit people that are running marathons. All right, so that's one thing. And the way to get your cardio in, because it is good for you, is to think about it like a sprinter mentality. All right, so look at the really good, serious sprinters, whether it's the Olympics or whether it's college or other kind of stuff. Those sprinters are muscular. They have very low body fat, but they also have a lot of muscle mass. They look fantastic, okay? So that's kind of the mentality I want you guys to get in. Now, you don't have to go out and run 50-yard dashes, okay? There's lots of other ways to do, kind of a high intensity interval training. All right, that's a cardio thing. And so it's lots of little short bursts of cardio. And it could be on the elliptical machine at the gym, going all out as hard as you can for 20 seconds and then catching your breath and then repeating it. It could be sprinting up a hill. I used to do that all the time. All right, there was this really steep grassy hill, and I would sprint up it. It was only about 30 yards, but man, I would be gassed, and I would catch my breath as I would walk down, and then I would do it over and over again. So there's lots of ways to do cardio, but do it with a sprinter mentality. All right, it doesn't take as long, and then it also has an added benefit of actually helping boost your testosterone levels. So, guys, I would recommend avoiding the really long, boring cardio. It's fine to go out and jog 2 or 3 miles. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys that are trying to do these half marathons or get on the bike and go out and bike for 2 or 3 hours several times a week. I think that's actually causing more harm than good. All right, so mistake number 2, guys, nutrition. Okay, abs are made in the kitchen. You're not going to believe how important your nutrition is when it comes to losing fat. You cannot exercise enough to take care of or to alleviate bad nutrition. And guys are so lazy when it comes to nutrition. All right, God, it drives me crazy. It's not that hard. I've shot tons of videos right here on this YouTube channel on how to eat healthy, what to avoid, what you should eat, and it's easy and it tastes good and it doesn't require cooking. All right, I hate to cook. I'm a bachelor. All right, so watch some of my other videos on this channel about nutrition. And one of the simple things that you need to do is you need to track everything you eat for just one day, one typical average eating day. All right, write down everything. And I know a lot of you guys watching aren't going to do it because you're too damn lazy. All right, we're talking about 10 minutes worth of work throughout the entire day. Write down everything you eat, end of the day, get on the internet and figure out how many calories you consumed. All right, there's lots of apps where you can type in all your food and it will tell you exactly how many calories, how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbs, and how many grams of fat. Okay, simple. You only have to do it once. You don't have to do it every day because it gives you an idea of where you are on a typical day for you. All right. Then there's also a ton of free apps that you can use to help calculate how many calories you burn on a typical day. It's just going to ask you the questions. It's going to ask you your age, your height, your weight, and it's going to ask you to pick from several different activity levels. Okay. And you just select all these variables and then you hit the button and it tells you how many calories, roughly speaking, you're burning every day. And then you compare that to how many calories you're eating on a typical day. You only have to do it once. Then you have a good feel for where you are. And then, of course, you need to make sure you're eating in a caloric deficit on a regular basis, not just once or twice a week. All right? You need to be doing it almost every day. And you need to be shooting for roughly a 500 calorie per day deficit. And I say that, I picked that number because 500 calories a day times 7 days a week is 3,500 calories per week that you're burning more than you're ingesting. And so why is that important? Because 1 pound of fat equals 3,500 calories. All right. And if you can lose 1 pound of fat a week, that is fantastic. All right. That's a rate of fat loss that you can actually kind of maintain. If you try to lose it too much, too fast, your body's going to rebel. Okay, you're going to get crazy hungry, you're going to get cravings, and you're not going to be able to stick with it. All right. Also, some guys, and it's different for everybody, it's genetic. Some guys' bodies will actually slow their metabolism down if you're eating too much in deficit, if you're eating too little food. All right. And what happens is it slows your metabolism down because it's trying to conserve that fat. All right. It thinks you're starving to death. It doesn't know if you're going to eat again. So that's why I don't recommend people go on really, really low caloric diets. All right. Figure out where your average burn rate is and subtract about 500 calories. And the sweet spot. All right, mistake number 3, guys. This is an easy one. Protein, protein, protein. Most guys, myself included, don't get enough protein in our daily diet. So I want you guys to shoot, okay, for roughly 0.7 of a gram of protein for each pound of ideal body weight. All right. So if you weigh 250 pounds and you know you really need to weigh 200, all right, your ideal weight would be 200. And you would take 0.7 of a gram, multiply it by 200 pounds, and then you need to get minimum 140 grams of protein a day, even though you weigh 250. All right, so we're going to subtract all that fat that you really need to lose, okay? So I think I'm close to my ideal weight. I weigh about 195 pounds. So I need basically a minimum of 140 grams of protein a day. And in reality, it's better to get closer to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. That's just hard, all right? So it's best to get your protein by eating whole foods. And there's tons of different ways to eat protein, but beef and fish and chicken and pork and all that stuff is great for you. But it's hard to get as much as you really need, and that's why I'm all for protein shakes. So go out and buy you a big tub of whey protein, and for you guys that are really trying to be strict, just mix it with water, 0 calories, all right? I mix it with 2% fat milk, all right? Love that taste. But guys, get more protein because your muscles need protein to repair and build from the workouts you're doing. And if you don't get enough protein, guys, you're not going to get 100% benefit out of every one of your workouts. And so finally, the 4th and last mistake that men make when it comes to losing fat, and that is, guys, you're not pushing yourselves hard enough. All right? I see it all the time, whether it's in person or on videos or just emails or on our Facebook group, okay? So you cannot just kind of go through the motions in your workouts. So most of you guys are only working out for 30 to 45 minutes a day anyway. So my Fit After 50 program, that's where my workouts are. It's between 30 and 45 minutes. And you can push yourselves harder. Most guys just kind of go through the motions when they're doing their sets, okay? I'm fine with that the first month when you're just starting out and you're a beginner and you haven't exercised in years. You'll kill yourself if you push yourself too hard, and then you'll give up and quit because you'll be so sore. But I'm talking about guys that have been working out for 2, 3, 4 months and longer. It is time to step up the intensity, all right? You guys need to go all out. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. And you know the old saying, no pain, no gain. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. All right. So that's the mentality I have. When I'm at the gym working out, okay, I'm going either to failure on every set or I'm going to within 1 rep of failure on every set. And it's tiring. But man, that is the best way to build muscle. And it also really dramatically helps with your testosterone levels. You will be surprised. The harder you push yourself, you create this lactic acid buildup in the muscles. That's the pain that you experience while you're working out. So, you know, it only lasts for 10 seconds, right? Because the first half of your set, the first 10 to 15 seconds, there's no pain. You're straining, but it's not painful. It's those last 3, 4, 5 reps where you're getting close to failure, all right? That's where you start to feel the lactic acid in your muscles, and they get so painful, you just have to stop, all right? That lactic acid sends signals to your brain to ramp up your body's production just of its natural testosterone. And it's the testosterone that not only helps you build muscle, but higher T levels actually help you burn fat more efficiently. So guys, pushing yourself, increasing the intensity is a double win. It increases muscle mass and it decreases fat. So 4 really straightforward fat loss mistakes that I see guys doing all the time. And you just heard them. None of them are real crazy hard to correct, all right? I mean, most of these are pretty much common sense. A few of them, you might not really have known the inside, uh, the inside story on, but still, they're easy to fix. But you can't just kind of do them here and there and occasionally. All right, you have to do them on a regular basis, and it's not hard to do on a regular basis. Trust me. All right, I promise. But if you stick with all these things and never give up on yourself, I promise you are going to lose a ton of body fat.